How many times have you seen an ambulance or fire truck or police car come up behind you on the roadway while you're going about your everyday commute? What do? By the end of this speech, you will have all the information you need to make the correct decision when you see emergency traffic on the roadway. I want to explain what is not right to do when emergency vehicles come up behind you, beside you, or in front of you. What is correct morally, ethically, and legally. And finally, why you should do these things. Every emergency public service agent wishes you knew what I'm about to tell you. Pay attention. The first thing we're going to discuss is what is incorrect, or easier to understand, what not to do when emergency vehicles come up behind, next to, or in front of you on the roadways. Here we go. Do not continue driving as if the emergency vehicle isn't there. If you do this, emergency vehicle personnel can't anticipate that you know we're behind you. Do not drive erratically and try to evade the vehicle. Driving erratically will cause accidents between the emergency vehicle and you, or the emergency vehicle and other vehicles, or other civilian vehicles. Do not stop in the middle of the road. Slamming on your brakes in this situation is the worst thing that you can do. Do not stop at the crest of a hill. The emergency vehicle, just as you, cannot see what's coming on the other side of the hill. It makes it extremely dangerous to pass when you don't know what's coming head on in the other lane. Do not try to outrun the vehicle. This causes delays in the emergency response, and it makes the situation very untamed, and it's a bad idea. You can be arrested, you can hurt other people, you can hurt yourself. Do not try to continue through an intersection until the vehicle has cleared it. It happens frequently where I'll come to a stoplight and I start to roll, and I may or may not be turning, but the vehicle who thinks they have the right of way that I'm not going to intersect with, or they think I'm not going to intersect with, decides that they can go ahead and move through the intersection. This is a terrible practice, because if I needed to change my route, if I needed, say I'm in the left lane but I'm really turning right, the person in the right lane decides to go forward, that causes us to crash. That's an accident. Do not try to follow an emergency vehicle or piggyback through intersections. Even if you have a loved one that's in need, do not try to go the speed of the emergency vehicle. Do not disregard traffic signals. You can be arrested. You can cause serious harm. If you do these things that I have informed you not to do, you are risking your own safety, the safety of the crews on the emergency vehicles, and the safety of others in the road. Now we'll go over some correct options for when an emergency vehicle is present while you are driving. Do slow down. That allows the emergency response vehicle driver to understand that you see him. Do pull to the nearest curb and stop. From the beginning of our driving history, when we got our driver's licenses, this was one of the things that we were taught. You don't necessarily have to pull to the right. If you're in the left lane, you don't have to pull all the way over to the right. You pull to the nearest curb. Do stop at any intersection you see an emergency vehicle at, regardless of where you think it may be headed. This is the other side of the situation where people decide to go through an intersection even though they think we may not be going that direction. Do attempt to predict the open area the vehicle will pass you in. If there's a space on your right and you can't slow down or stop, the emergency vehicle is going to attempt to pass you on that side, on that right side in that space. Understand that. Maintain where you're at. Do be courteous to other drivers. Road rage is a terrible thing. It just makes our jobs harder and it puts you at risk. If you're unable to slow or stop, again, stay in the lane you're in. Maintain your position, and the ambulance, the fire truck, or the police officer will find a way to make it around you. Just stay where you're at. By performing these basic ideas when emergency traffic is encountered, you are allowing for a smoother passing and working toward public safety. You should follow these do's and don'ts for the very same reasons. Everyone is safer in the road when these things go correctly. The people who need the response, the people responding, and everyone in the path in between will be much safer and things will go much smoother if you just remember these few points we discussed above. Everyone's lives and well-being depend on everyone else on the roadway. This is a call to action. I ask each and every one of you to respect the road, respect other people's lives, and respect emergency traffic by remembering what's wrong and doing what's right when emergency traffic is found on the roadways. Now that you know what you should and shouldn't do and why, hopefully you will follow these simple rules that maintain order, promote public safety, and keep you legal. You now have the necessary education to make these informed decisions. Now you know what you should do when you see an emergency vehicle in an emergency state. Stay safe.